So we had a major upset in the French world today.
Oh no, not an upset.
Big upset, big upset. Macron was slapped.
Gasp!
I don't know why I thought you were going to say sacre bleu or something like that.
I don't know a single phrase in French.
Well, for those who don't know, in a small town, President Emmanuel Macron of France was visiting, and he was talking to his supporters, and a man grabbed him and he slapped him. And apparently, this in Europe, there's a very different way of viewing how oppositional people view politicians they don't like. Like there's pie throwing, sometimes a shoe gets thrown, an insult gets thrown around. But yeah, this one was a smack.
Oh, so it's just like a little more of like a subtle, disrespectful jab instead of like, let's go murder them.
Yeah,
like we do here in America.
Yeah, there's no riots happening. It's just like a gentleman's slap.
Yeah, like that guy was not gonna try to like hang him or do any sort of horrible political violence.
He did say down with Macroning, which is like apparently a derogatory way of referring to the administration, Macronies.
Oh, like a
crone.
like Macronism, like.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Macronism. Well, just in case anyone's wondering, he's okay.
Oh, yeah.
He
okay.
answered questions after it.
No, I was going to ask.
Oh, it wasn't. No, it was more like a.
I saw the footage. He was fine.
He was fine. He was fine. Just sort of taken aback.
Honestly, I think even the guy who slapped him seemed fine. Like the Secret Service, they pushed him back, and then there was like some cops that just kind of like escorted the guy away.
Yeah, it was kind of, well, I mean, they're arrested. There's two people were arrested. Apparently, I guess it was like a heist. Not a heist.
I mean, it's an assault.
Plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, like, I don't know what they call it there, but that'd be a felony here.
Assault?
Agression.
No, that was a bad joke.
It harkens back to like the shoe being thrown at
George Bush. There was a shoe thrown at him. Another insult.
I don't know if I feel like this is something we should start doing. Like, should we start throwing pies at Ted Cruz? Or, like... I don't think anyone could punch or slap Ted Cruz. I don't know how that guy got away with that. That seems so difficult.
What happened to the guy who punched Richard Spencer?
Oh, my gosh. He's a legend. What did happen?
I think that answers your question.
He probably went to jail or something, right?
Of course, we don't condone violence on the podcast. But,
is pie throwing pie throwing is violence? Don't throw pies. Stop hitting.
This is a PSA.
Stop the pie throwing. This is becoming an after school special.
Put down the pies. Eat the pies.
Yes. If you don't like a politician, vote him out.
Smack him out with your vote.
Welcome to the Avant In podcast. I am one of your hosts, Topher Wagner.
And I'm another host, Jerome Allen.
We are doom scrolling the news so that you don't have to.
So this week.
Pretty big week. Mm-hmm. Pretty big week. Mm-hmm. For us here in New York, we had the second debate for our next emperor to replace the great and almighty...
the Tsar of New York.
Bill.
Tsar Bill.
May he rest in somewhere in New Jersey, probably Long Island. But yeah, it's basically been Yang City for like the last year of this whole race, and now I don't even think he's like a front runner now. He's in like third or fourth place.
Yeah,
the excitement has been lost.
Yang Gang is done. It's done. The meme's dead.
Yeah, the meme is dead. It's not funny anymore.
He killed it himself, unfortunately.
Yes, but now the top front runner, from what I gathered in the debate, based on how much everyone was going after him, I would say it's Eric Adams.
The cop.
Yeah, he's the cop. He's the cop. And he's basically the only person on the entire candidate list that is like, no, more cops, bigger cops, big fatter guns, faster bullets.
Robocops, Mecha Cops,
Robo dog cops.
Robo Dog, Mecha Cops on steroids.
Mecha Copzilla.
Must protect streets. Like,
if anybody wants to know more about Eric Adams, I highly recommend this hilarious video that has resurfaced. I think it's from like 2011. I'm not sure if I think he might have just been like a police chief or something at the time, but it's like a PSA for parents teaching them how to search their children's belongings for drugs and weaponry.
high cringe content. High cringe content.
And it's very thorough. Like, he talks about how like your children's like baby doll clothes, like you have to undress the Barbie dolls because they hide marijuana in there.
It's a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs. Run your hands over the pillows and see if you feel anything that's unusual. Like a pillow like this where the button is a perfect invitation to hide something. And I felt something bumpy. I would reach in, see what it is. This will.
Which, like, I don't know the overlap in like kids with Barbie dolls that also smoke weed. And then he like openly admits in the video how like I check my son's backpack every single day when he comes to school because I don't trust him. Like, he's mad cringe cop. He's just a cringe cop.
This guy jerks off to the police state. Like, it's so this glorification of like having these forces in blue come save the community.
Yeah, and
like, what a fantasy that is.
He wants the cops that are not on duty to always be armed. I think specifically he mentioned that there should always be a gun inside a church. Like you can't have a church service without a gun present.
As the 11th commandment says, stay strapped.
I mean, I guess I'm not opposed to like some sort of security at the door. Like, obviously, I don't think anyone should be able to bring a gun into the church.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a history of violence that happens there. But
I don't think civilians should have easy access to guns in general, but I digress.
And
Period.
that's kind of what every other candidate is on, right? Like, Catherine Garcia has like a big platform about just trying to, what do they call it? The iron pipeline, like stopping the iron pipeline, which is basically just like gun manufacturers from other states and people bringing those guns in somehow.
Oh.
Crime is like the number one topic that they talked about, basically, because gun violence is up like 75% from last year, which, like, I don't know. I'm just saying the statistics could be skewed.
Yeah.
2020 is a weird control group.
2020 was a strange time because for those New Yorkers who are listening, if you remember the summer of fireworks, there were fireworks every day for, gosh, I don't know. I think I was born in the fireworks. Somehow I made it out.
The fires have been working since as long as I could remember. It was several months.
It was.
I wouldn't say it was like the entire summer.
All summer, and then some. Before we move on from the fireworks thing, sorry, I forgot about this. So there was, for those who also don't know, there was some whisperings that it was incited by NYPD. So in some ways, this is connected to grand old cop Eric Adams.
NYPD was definitely either providing the fireworks
and allowing them to get into the city. Yeah.
Right. Through the iron pipeline.
Here we go. Wow. We really brought that full circle, didn't we?
But if anyone is, still up in the air about who they want to vote for, I would recommend basically none of the people that we talked about so far. But I would say Maya Wiley right now is at the top of the list as far as progressive candidates go. Mm-hmm. Diane Morales was a favorite for a while, but she's hit a roadblock.
She is a union buster.
She is a pro-union candidate unless it's her own staffers unionizing.
Not in my house.
Very personally attacked by the concept of unions when it comes to her own campaign.
What do you mean I can't overwork you? You work for me.
I love unions.
I love unions.
I love you. Just not all of you together, working together. So yeah, Maya Wiley has sort of taken the lead from her in that regard. But all of those candidates, and Scott Stringer, who is also a very progressive candidate, who had like a little bit of a little Me Too going on, a little late stage delayed Me Too.
It was like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that.
He was never in my top anyways. But the good news is that New York City has a ranked choice system. So you get to put like I don't know the number, 5 different candidates down or something in an order. And so I would recommend, if you're going to do all the ranked choices, just throw Paperboy Love Prince a bone, you know? Like
Paperboy
third or
Love
fourth place, like what harm could it do?
For those who don't know, Paperboy Love Prince is I don't really know how to describe their presence, but they ran for city council person for Bushwick.
Yeah, that's right. They are a pretty radical candidate. They're like a rapper, performance artist, non-binary activist who, because they, I think, know that they can't win, can say things like abolish the police. So like that's a pretty cool power to have. None of the other candidates, even if they believe that, I think would have the gall.
No.
Proud member of the Yang Gang, Paperboy Love Prince is, which is a little ironic. They have a very funny kind of cringe YouTube video, like rap song all about Yang Gang back when he was running for president. So that's fun. And anyone can run for mayor now because all of your small donations get matched by the city like 8-1. So we have government subsidized elections, which, as far as I can tell, is a pretty good idea. All of the female candidates right now are like mostly funding their campaign from people who are donating like $100 or less, because interestingly enough, working class people support progressive candidates in New York City, and the corporations support
Who would have thought?
Ray McGuire and RoboCop. Yeah. So that's a good segue, I suppose, to go into election reform on a federal level.
Okay.
Because there is, it's called the For the People Act.
Yes.
I think it's a voting rights bill.
For the people, by the people.
It's pretty comprehensive. It's pretty important. It seems very straightforward, and yet it is apparently doomed to fail. Yeah, so like out of left field, Joe Manchin like put out some op-ed in the Charleston Gazette stating that he will not support this bill because it's too partisan. Not because he doesn't like what's in the bill, but he doesn't like the fact that the GOP doesn't like it. Because he just wants us all to get along.
And our demise, Joe Manchin, was on, I want to say, CNN, and he was asked, so don't you think you're being... No, he was on Fox, actually. This is the funny... He was on Fox.
Fitting.
And
because he's a conservative.
I can't remember the commentator, the older commentator with the glasses.
Chris Wallace.
He was asking him, like, don't you think it's naive to think that the Republicans are going to work with you? Like, Mitch McConnell has said, we will block everything on Joe Biden's agenda. And he was like, no, I know seven specific Republican senators who are going to work with us and blah, blah, blah.
We
and then
meet
that
for
moment,
poker. We're friends.
And then that moment, I'm like, obviously you can't do math. You need 9 to get to 60. So, yeah, it's he is a Republican. He's we've said this before, say it again. He's just vying for the Republican vote in West Virginia so he can stay in power.
If he had any principle, he wouldn't be saying all this nonsense. Like,
right.
Bipartisanship, trying to work with the GOP. Like, if you empathize with traitors and fascists, you're a traitor. I'm sorry, I said it.
I heard no lies. I heard nothing false.
Good.
No, it's really, I mean, I think let's, to not graze over it, it's really unfortunate that what could be an historical moment for the American people in terms of like increased voter access when we are having GOP people go on TV like the Texas Attorney General saying, if we didn't change the vote by mail laws in Texas in time, then Texas would have turned blue. It's like we were seeing like the fact that the GOP has a plan that they know will work, and all it takes is the diversion of 2 Senate Democrats.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like the filibuster in itself is voter suppression because it's allowing, I think somebody said this recently, I think even Obama said something about this recently this week, that like they're letting 30% of the population decide what kind of policies we can enact in the Senate.
Yeah.
When the other 70% elected in a majority.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So they're using voter suppression, an age-old voter suppression, to stop anything that could.
And it's kind of wild because the Republicans get not only, this is such an unfortunate thing to say, but they get to take the win on this because they can blame Democratic infighting or whatever, and then say the Democrats got nothing done.
Yes.
So fuck Joe
self-fulfilling
Manchin.
prophecy. Fuck Joe Manchin, and he's also hurting our chances of passing the infrastructure bill.
Yeah. And I think this goes a line again with the dollar signs. So the infrastructure bill, for those who don't know, didn't necessarily die on the floor or anything like that, but the negotiation talks came to a cease because both sides cannot agree on where the money, on how it's going to be paid for. And for those who don't know, also in the infrastructure bill, there is a clause about adding free community college. So it's not just increasing wireless internet access for rural communities, which is very important, and bridges and roads, but it's also radically restructuring our society. And it has come to the GOP's this need that, well, we can't pay for it by taxing the rich. Oh no.
Oh,
or we can't raise the corporate taxes. Oh, it's going to hurt. And quote, as the negotiator said, I can't remember her name, it's going to hurt many Americans.
It's going to hurt 100.
It's going to hurt the Met Gala.
They're going to be
all the attendees of the Met Gala.
Could you imagine how sad the Met Gala will be this year if we take away all their tax havens? But I do think it is serendipitous that as these infrastructure talks are sort of coming to this standstill and we're having to keep starting back at square one or starting new third-party bipartisan groups to discuss it, this big ProPublica bombshell reporting, explosive report detailing all this basically blatant tax evasion from all of the wealthiest of our American citizens. The sad boys who Biden is trying to take away their 13th yacht. We got Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg and Buffett. They're all guilty of it. Apparently, basically, if you look at the true tax, not just the adjusted gross income, the top 25 wealthiest people in the country pay on average around somewhere between 0.1 and 3% on their taxes.
0.1%.
We pay way more taxes than Jeff Bezos.
Of course. Well, I mean, he doesn't actually have any real money. It's all stocks. It's all investments.
But then why does it matter to you then if it gets taxed or not, Jeff?
No, I mean, the clinging to wealth is such, it is the manifestation, the embodiment, the physical form of greed, the fact that these people can't just let it go. You do see it with Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. Her name is, it'll appear on the screen. It's good that she has donated about half of her money that she got out of the divorce from Jeff Bezos to charity. I mean, there is I guess unfortunately we still have to deal with this mental gymnastics of you have the greed of greed, and then you have those who are still billionaires but donate a lot of money.
Right. Well, and that's part of the way that they avoid paying taxes is by giving just the right amount of charitable donations, or they don't claim any of their wealth as wages or income, and then if they don't cash in on any of their capital gains, then they don't have to claim it. And so basically this has reignited the conversation about taxing the rich. I don't think it's really a bombshell report. It's evidence from the IRS. There was some sort of leak, which, I mean, they claim they're going to track down who did this, but it's who cares? We're pro whistleblower here, so it doesn't matter to us.
Blow that whistle, baby.
I think this has reignited the conversation. Elizabeth Warren gave an impassioned speech at the Finance Committee today.
We love her.
Just basically saying, because Biden does have some tax reform in this spending proposals and stuff, but it needs to be more. You know, like we should be able to tax their capital gains whether they use it or not. If you're gaining wealth every year, you need to pay your taxes. And instead, it's only the kind of rich that are carrying the weight right now. Like anyone who makes like $1 million to $50 million, they're paying their taxes. But that only goes so far when you have people with literally hundreds of billions of dollars that are paying close to nothing. You want to know how we're going to pay for infrastructure? That's it. That's it.
That's all it takes. And taxes are really complicated, right? Like the tax code is by design made to be complicated for the average American not to understand it. Because when you look at like the 2017 rewrite of the tax code after, I can't remember, it was like 20, 30 years, it was only made to be more convoluted. So those who did know how to read it could give give the credits to the rich.
Right. And the IRS is like, they've lost like 20% of their funding in the last decade.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that. The
Which
IRS
is also, I
is
think,
underfunded. That's so ironic.
I think that's also part of Joe Biden's plan, is to try to like get some money back to the IRS so they can actually do their job.
I got a quick one, then we got to get out of here. So apparently there was a pharmacist in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who tampered with about 56 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. He was sentenced on 2 felony charges to prison. And the reason why he tampered with said doses was because he is a prophet. God bless.
Wait, like a religious prophet?
He said he's a religious prophet, and the Lord told him to do so.
God famously hates vaccines. This is
the most famous anti-vaxxer. Obviously.
He was the first.
He was the first.
Well, actually, wait, now that I'm thinking about it though, like, didn't Jesus like cure people's leprosy and stuff? Like, wasn't he like pretty
pro-vax,
pro healthcare?
Yes. But that's an old prophet. We're talking about this prophet right now. Don't pivot.
Sorry, wrong prophet. We're talking about the Milwaukee prophet, right?
He has reportedly said he is sorry for it, but yeah, there was still a lot of vitriol coming from the people who got the tampered doses, which the CDC claims that it's okay. They're still vaccinated. Like, they don't have to get there's nothing wrong with it. But he basically just left it out. Like, they're supposed to be like freezed at like extreme temperatures, the Moderna vaccine. Well, he like left them out.
Oh, okay. What, 56 doses?
Yes.
We still got a lot of doses, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that specific pharmacy was kind of
that farm. Yeah, exactly. That community's pretty like messed up from it. But
yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong though.
Yes.
Like, to become a pharmacist, like you gotta take a lot of science classes, right? Like, how did this happen?
I don't know how there are many doctors and pharmacists who like are anti-science. That's a good question because it takes years.
I mean,
years.
I've talked to many people that know a lot of healthcare workers, doctors, scientists. It's troubling time for the vaccine.
But anyway, get vaccinated. If you haven't already, most adult Americans are at this point, but please get vaccinated. If you can, if you're listening to this out of the U.S., then do what you can. And with that, thank you for tuning in to the Avant Inn. I am one of your hosts, Jerome Allen.
And I am the other host, Topher Wagner.
If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, comment, and maybe DM us on Instagram. And if you are watching us, please like, subscribe on the YouTube. The song that you're listening to right now is Knox Engler's Mend. And Topher, what's your quote for today?
Don't quit your day job unless it's exploitative and terrible, and then advocate for yourself.
Go Unions.